Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Okay, to set up the games will be very easy. You're going to randomly put all the buildings out. Whatever the current month is, it happens to be January, and then you put the months down like this. Everybody's going to take a woman for the first player. The next person will put their woman down, and then they'll put their 2 men down. It's just a 2-player game. And then he'll put his 2 men down, and that'll be the setup. You have your player board set up with your other 2 over here. So what's going to happen on turn is the first player that's closest to the board can now take their action. And this is where the game is a little bit. So what you can do is you have 1 worker with 1 power, because there's just 1 worker there. I could take this first board. It has no requirements on it. It's worth 4 victory points. And that's a little stickler about the beginning of the game. If you're just in a good setup, you're going to get something. So you would take your 4 victory point. You would take your worker, put it down on the row or the column that you took it on, and this would go in your victory point pile, and you've taken 4. So you can build a building. And that leaves purple next. They have 1 power and a 2 power here. So that could be 1 plus 2 is 3. So they could go as high as the 3 worker spot over here. And you can go down as far as you want. So let's say they want to go here and they want to grab the saw. They would move their 3 workers to the next month because it's in this column, and they would take the saw, leaving the building there. So they didn't build the building, they just took the tool, and now they have a saw. So the red player has 1 worker with a strength of 2, so they could go up through here. And let's say they want to come here and they want to grab this red one right here. I'm sorry, they could do that because it has 3 workers. They can grab this one. They go to November, and they would also get a saw and put it down. Now, what's going to happen here is because there's nothing here, this will move up, and because this board is completely used, it would go all the way down here and go to the bottom of it. So now we have December all the way down. So those are the actions you can do. You could build a building if you meet the requirement of the building. So let's say purple wants to build this building. It requires a saw. I'm sorry, the red player wants to build this one because they're next. Look, they're next closest. They want to build this. They do have the saw, so they can go here. They keep the saw, and they just take the building. Now look, we've just been playing this. They both have a saw, and now the red player has 8 points, and yellow doesn't. So that's how quickly things can kind of steep. So the purple one comes up. They could take another one, come down here, maybe take a saw here, and then they would have 2 saws. So let's go ahead and do that. They're going to come down here. They're going to take the second saw with their 1, and that's going to give them the ability. Now they have 2 workers. They're going to be able to take this building, which gives them 2 saws. Now, the only thing about this building gives you 5 points, but it requires you to put a saw back. Just that's what that one happens to do. Normally, you don't. And then they would go through here. And now you have this. Now, those are the actions you can do. Let's say this guy doesn't want to take an action here because he really wants to take a 3-1. He can just take a vacation for an action and come down and hang out with the next colored meeples in his line. So now he's in October without taking anything. He could definitely do that because he doesn't meet the requirement, but for some purpose, he wants to get them up. The only alternative is, let's say you had a purple here. You could take a purple, but it has to be a female, put them all the way at the end of the rail, and then take one of your people off, whichever one you want, and put it out there. Now, if you remember in our original one, we were like here in January, if you remember that, and we had a purple here. It would have behooved you to probably do that at that point, and then grab your person because it's longer. So when it moves up, you're a little bit closer. So you're going to be a little bit strategic about when you want to do that. You obviously don't want to take the female and have a baby at the longest point, or probably don't want to because it's going to be so long for you to wait for that out. So that's kind of how that works. So the 4 actions, you could take the tool, build a building if you meet the requirements. 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep the tool. You can just pass and go down to your other person, making your next move even more powerful. Or you can have a baby by going all the way to the end with a female and putting one of your 2 out that you have left. After all of the buildings are purchased, whoever has the most victory points in their pile will be the winner of the game. And that's how you play Samara.